first awards function delivered a tremendous sense of theatre and a wonderful winner for the 360 agenda. A thriller at the Rising Star as a young Lions squeaks home by 1 vote. Lewis Taylor joins us at the desk. As Hawthorn takes its premiership defence into the final month, Alistair Clarkson and Luke Hodge reflect on what's been overcome and what lies in store. And Steve Johnson hits the training track, trying to ensure his place in Friday night's September opener against the Hawks. I'm Gerard Whateley, here's Mark Robinson. This Wednesday night, it's footy from all angles. Hello, Robbo.
Hello, Gerard.
Now, the prospect of this weekend has plenty of minds reflecting on the thriller of 20 years ago, where a whole sequence of finals fell in the manner that this might, and that brings a key protagonist here tonight. How fortunate we are to have David King to reflect on the 1994 qualifying final.
Why did he kick it? Is he here?
20th anniversary.
Look at me. I've got the ball. Oh, look at Dennis. Wouldn't it have been... There's Mark. I think it's Mark Dawson in the front. I'll give the guy credit. It nearly gets there, mate. Look at this. I don't know why he didn't go to the torp, though.
We will put you right back inside that moment as David King couldn't deliver victory.
Yeah, he lost the game.
The final
he lost the game.
Well, they did go on to win it.
Oh, they lost the main game.
Good fun.
Was that 20 years
20
ago?
years ago.
He hasn't aged much, has he? Gingy.
A Wednesday love, if you would, Robbo.
Wednesday love. He's got to change his page for a second. It's not on the page. Award season, Jerry.
Yes.
I love the award season. I'll tell you why. We got Lewis Taylor coming up soon, which will be terrific to talk to. I love the All-Australian, and we're doing the All-Australian. You know the award I'm looking most forward to this year?
Tell me.
Is the Players' MVP. Ooh. You know why? Because there's Gazza. And for the last 4 years, has he won 4 in a row or 5 or 6? We'll go 4.
It's a sequence.
It is a sequence. Okay, go Gazza. It's like a rubber stamp. It's a donkey vote. Yep, Gazza. Away we go. I reckon this year it's not going to be a donkey vote. And I think this year Gazza might be in trouble, get knocked off of the MVP. So that's the one where I hope the players sit down and think, OK, is 15 games enough? Or is it somebody else? It'll be interesting to see how switched on the players are.
It could be a great spread in the voting if they've done it properly and thought through it.
I'll ask Bob and Jordan next week. What do you love?
I love access. I love access that puts us right in the middle of the game. And the Giants, in their final match of the season, decided that they would mic up a player. And who better than the outrageously overactive Heath Shaw?
Halve the contest, bring it to ground, get a stoppage in here. Hey, sets the standard. The standard gets sets in there. Mummy, Dill, you start us off. Woohoo! That'll do.
Who are you on?
Right, Josh! Tobes! Great stuff! Dev, you already got one, go! Come at him! You're hanging up there, Kurt, up here! Wells, good cover. Great stuff, great work. Really good, really good. Good stuff.
That's good fun.
I would prefer to sit here for the next hour and watch that.
From go to woe?
Yeah, just watch it. I'd rather... we will give you information, no doubt, and you'll have not a bad time watching us. That is interesting. And I would watch it. Have we got the whole lot?
No, I think we have more than that. I like the bit he says, who are you on when he goes in to celebrate a goal? What do you think he does next?
Don't know what.
He runs to the player that you're on and just gives
How good's that?
Know.
That's great.
Yeah,
well
that's
done.
nice, isn't it?
That
right
is.
under the Giants.
Well done.
OK, top of the agenda is the 2014 NAB Rising Star. It was a thriller of a count at lunchtime today, decided by 1 vote at the close. It was an upset winner, and it's a wonderful story.
I declare Lewis Taylor of the Brisbane Lions the 2014 NAB Rising Star.
For Crisp, getting each other's way. Taylor, socks up, confidence up. Well, suddenly it comes out the back and Taylor can jag one and can.
A family like
life hasn't always been easy for you. You've had a fair bit of travelling around, but you've held faith to your dream.
Yeah, I have. It was tough, but the way I look at it is there's people going through a lot worse than me, so there's no point in me sooking about it or anything like that. And I've got the dad and brother over there today, which is good to see them. So I've obviously got Dad to thank and the brother. Dad's been absolutely fantastic for me and my brother, so I can't thank him enough for what he's done.
So a whirlwind afternoon for Lewis Taylor, and it brings him to AFL 360. Welcome and congratulations.
Thanks for having me on.
How's the last few hours been?
Oh yeah, it's been pretty intense, but it's good. Slowly getting through the interviews, which has been good.
Do you have an immediate sense of how immense this award is? And the history of it was printed on the menu, so the names are they're the great names of the game have gone through this position.
Yeah, that's right. There are some really good names there, so I'm very honoured. But yeah, some of those names are elite of the game, so I've got a bit of work to do, that's for sure.
Your odds were pretty big at stages through the year. Did your dad and brother get on? Do you know?
I don't know. I did have a couple of mates that did get on. So
what price? Do you know what price you were when it started? Hundreds?
I had a mate that texted me today saying he got on at 41.
That's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, so he was happy with that.
And what did you jump at? 5s, 4s?
Oh, I don't even know.
No.
Yeah.
What was the best part of the day? And what was the most nervous part? I saw you getting up there and I thought, God, look how white you were.
Yeah.
What was the best part of the day?
The best part? Well, you're right, I was nervous. I wasn't too bad at the start, but those last few counts, I started to get a little bit nervous. I hadn't prepared a speech or anything, so I was under the pump when I got up there, but yeah, best part, I don't know, probably just to have the family in there, and it's just a proud moment for all the hard work and stuff that I'd put in, I suppose.
You were a feature in The Age in November, heading up to the draft. You had the lovely line, I reckon it would be the best thing ever, going right back down to the bottom and having that challenge to start again and work your way into the team. Has it been everything you thought that it might have been?
Well, there's been a lot of challenges along the way. It's obviously coming to the pre-season with an injury and that sort of thing, and had to work pretty hard to get back out in the track. So, yeah, look, I've loved every moment of it, that's for sure. So all the boys and coaching staff and stuff have been really great so far, and can't thank them enough, that's for sure.
You don't have to answer any of the questions I'm going to ask you, okay? But when we meet young footballers, we always like to know where they've come from and their upbringing. And you said today, just then, challenges when you first arrived at the club. I heard you today say there were challenges in your life, and your dad, and you spoke about what your dad meant to you. Can you expand on that and take us to it? So where were you at 10 years of age and 16 years of age, and what are you now? 18, 19 years of age? How has the journey been through that period?
I suppose early on it was pretty tough, moving around a lot and that sort of thing.
You lived in like 8 different towns?
Yeah, that's right. That was with Mum, so a lot of moving around, and had the brother as well.
Hasn't he jumped on the wagon today getting his head all over TV?
He's done well, he's done very well, that's for sure. So, yeah, look, it was pretty tough at the start, but, once Dad won us back...
How old were you then, can I ask? When you hooked back up together?
Probably would have been 11 maybe, I think. Yeah, so, and that settled things down, and finished off primary school and went into secondary school over in Campany out at Mercy, and I suppose just got in a good routine of just a normal sort of life. And yeah, look, as I said, there's people out there 10 times worse than me, so if I'm going to have a talk about stuff like that, I'm not going in the right direction, that's for sure.
Everyone who talks about footy says it's a brutal game. Do you think that your life prepared you for the brutality of being an AFL player?
Yeah, definitely. I think so. It gave me that little bit of independence as well, I think. So a lot of talk about that homesickness and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't have any troubles with that sort of stuff, so I don't think the club will need to worry about that, that's for sure.
Did your old man play footy?
He did. He was a forward, I think. He just played out in the old country leagues.
Cheating half-forward flank or in and under?
Exactly right. Cheating half-forward flank, I think.
So has footy been a constant for you for as long as you can remember?
It has, yeah. It's always had a footy in my hand ever since I could walk, so out in the backyard kicking with the old man or the brother or whoever.
You're captain of the country team. I don't want to harp on this, but I mean it's a huge honour to be named captain, and being named captain of that, you've got to have leadership. You and your younger brother, again, I asked you, did that prepare you? Did your young life prepare you for leadership? Did you sort of gather leadership skills from a young age because you had to?
Yeah, look, I definitely agree with that. Probably, you know, I had, as being the older brother, I always had my younger brother with me. So, I suppose in a way, I always had to sort of set an example, and I suppose that's also a way of leadership. But yeah, obviously, to be named captain of the Vic Country team was a huge honour as well.
So, was it hard to leave Toby and your dad when you were drafted out of the States?
Yeah, look.
Tell the truth.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. No, you're right. No, it wasn't. But, I suppose just having 3 boys around the house, there's not too much to miss, really. But look, I've seen them a lot this year, which has been great. So, yeah.
Marcus Bontempelli came second today. Not just Marcus, but we've been talking about on this show, I reckon, for 7-8 weeks now, about the quality of the group this year. Has it dawned on you when you look around, not at the previous winners, as Jared just spoke to you about, but actually your peers this year, it seriously has to be pretty close to the best depth of first-year players?
Yeah, you're right. There was definitely a good group, good 23 there today, that's for sure. So, it's only a small step in my career, hopefully. Still a lot of hard work to put in and over these pre-seasons, and yeah.
One question, Aish, your teammate, did you actually think he might have polled more votes than you?
Oh, personally, I did. He had a great start to the year.
Yeah, he did.
Very strong, and then sort of held that consistency as well. So I thought he might poll very well.
Much was made. I know you've been asked about this today, and hopefully if you can expand it further, it'll be terrific. Much was made of the group that left the Lions last year.
Yeah.
And I think everyone looking at the Lions this year under Justin Leppich just applauded what they've been able to achieve, especially in the second half. What is the feeling amongst that first and second year players at the club right now?
Well, when we all got to the club, the thing I was most nervous about was obviously you meet new people, new group and stuff like that. But as soon as I got to the club, there was no worries about that at all. Probably the second year boys were probably the biggest influence on me personally, and a lot of the younger boys.
Who in particular? Can you name them?
Yeah, Sam Mays for one, Michael Close, Marco Paparone, Nick Hayes, also Paddy Weirden, and also Rowan Buick, who I live with, has been good just to obviously get me involved with things like dinners and stuff like that. It's just those little things that add up and build those bonds.
I spoke to Lep earlier this year about you, and I said, what was he like when he arrived? And he said, you were just a busy bee. You were just in and out, in and out. It didn't appear that you were a nervous first-year player. You arrived at the club and thought, right, here I am. What are we doing? When am I training? I've got to go over this injury. Let me get into it. And you played round 1 on 4 weeks training and ended up playing every game of footy.
Yeah, I was pretty nervous the first day. I remember we walked into the change rooms. You just had your stuff, you put it down, and you didn't know anyone or anything like that. So I was pretty nervous when Big Brownie came up to me and shook my hand for the first time.
What did he say, Louis?
Yeah, Louis, how are you? No, we had a bit in common from both Southwest boys, so it was good. But yeah, look, I like to think I'm one of them blokes that pretty friendly and easy to get along with. So I hadn't had any trouble fitting in, which has been great.
Your coach said that you're a pretty good judge of how you'd gone, and when you hadn't gone well, you were straighter talking about it than he was. What have you done well this year? What do you feel like you've been able to bring to the team?
I suppose just, I don't know, really, bit of character. I like to think I'm hard at it, running player. I like to bring a bit of excitement to the game as well. So it's good having Josh Green and Dane Zorko down there with me. We're a pretty tight bunch, which is good.
I looked at you a couple of times this year and I thought this kid's going to drop dead with exhaustion. How tough was it? In that role of sort of high half forward, it's up and back, and you've got to get back and underneath, and you've got to get up and support. We're at times this year where you're thinking to yourself, this is tough business.
Yeah, you're definitely right. A lot of people underestimate that half forward role and how much you actually have to run. So, it was good because we could swap it between Greenie and Zorks and that and get a bit of a spell, but it's definitely a harder role than a lot of people think, that's for sure.
When you met Anthony Hudson today, did you think to yourself, God, he's small? Did you think that?
I can't really talk myself, can I? But no, he was a good fella, actually. I didn't mind him.
Anthony? No, he's a terrific fella.
Simon and Toby are with us. Simon, what's the sense of pride been like today in your son?
Oh, huge amount of pride. Yeah, couldn't be happier for him. I've been proud from him right from the start of the year when he got drafted up until now. Yeah, can't fault his attitude or his. Yeah, very proud.
Were you a wide-running half-forward flanker, or were you?
I was a lazy sort of forward pocket. Yeah.
What was it like? And a serious question. What was it like listening to Louis talk about your influence on him, and you being the parent, knowing full well the difficulties that you had? I suppose getting him back when he was 11. What was it like to sit there and reflect on all that and hear what your boy was saying?
Yeah, the eyes started to fill up with the tears. Yeah, we had a few tough times earlier on, but we all worked together and got each other through, and here we are.
Toby, was it hard losing him to Brisbane, or were you happy to see him go?
Oh, well, he wasn't at home for the last year. He was living out where he was working. But, yeah, it was hard to not see him on the weekends and all that sort of stuff, I suppose, and see him whenever.
And what are you? Are you a mix between your lazy forward pocket and the hard-running high half forward?
Yeah, it's sort of somewhere in between there. Try to have a crack.
It's been a great day. We know you have to get to the airport, so thanks for stopping by. Lewis, what do you want out of your AFL career from here, now that you're forever a Rising Star winner?
Well, we're pretty clear at Brisbane. We know what we want, and that's the premiership, I think. So, Leper was big on, we're here for one thing, and that's premiership success, team success. So, when I'm finished, if I can say I've won a premiership with a good bunch of blokes, I'll be happy.
Good on you. Good luck with it.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations.
Thanks, mate.
Lewis Taylor with us on AFL 360. So while the Rising Star was being crowned, the finals preparations are really on in earnest, and down the highway in Geelong, all eyes were on Steve Johnson.
Stevie lives for September, and he really prides himself on playing his best footy at this time of year, so he's got too big of an ego not to play well, so I'm sure he'll be fine. You don't know a lot of the time with Stevie. Sometimes you look at him and you think he looks terrible, and then comes out and has 30 possessions on the weekend, but he's been training, he's ticking all the boxes, he's doing everything that's been asked of him this week, so he'll be fine, I'd say. He's the sort of player that he can kick a goal from nowhere at a critical time and all that sort of stuff. And I think more so for Hawthorn, having to sort of keep an eye on him, I guess, can pull their structure apart at times. And he's just such an important and smart player for us. It's always going to be good having him out there. There's obviously the big elephant in the room with Hawthorn and our rivalry lately, but I think more than that, it's just, as we spoke about before, it's just another challenge for the finals and another chance to do something special. Our best footy stands up in big games, and we've always believed that right from 10 years ago. So, we're really happy about the position we're in and ready for the challenge. It's no holes barred on the weekend. We just go out and have a crack, and I think whether we played last week, 10 weeks ago, it doesn't really make a difference for this week.
So the Steve Johnson riddle, which has been running for a number of weeks now, will be answered tomorrow night when all expectations out of Geelong are his name will be on the team sheet.
Expectations high, or expectations still waiting to see how he wakes up tomorrow?
Well, it will always be about how he wakes up tomorrow. Yeah. But he's one of those players where, as James Kelly acknowledged, he's hard to judge by the way he moves. He's a funny. Someone said to me last night after the show, we were sitting at home, he said, "Is he knock-kneed?" I said, I don't know. I don't know. He's got a strange walking and running gait. But who cares how he looks? It's how he plays, and he's proven to be a champ of the modern game. So, desperately need him. Desperate, maybe a bit strong. He's an intrinsic part of them, though, isn't he? I'll go back on it. They desperately need him. Well, he's the kind of player that separates winning from losing. Yep. So he's got to get out there. How's the touch going to be? With Stevie J, you don't know. You could miss 8 weeks of football and go out and have 35, and you think this guy hasn't skipped a beat. And other weekends you look at him and think, God, what's wrong with him? Got out of bed the wrong way. I hope he plays. I think all the football people want him to play. OK, the Hawthorn side of the equation we'll have for you after King and McClure when Alistair Clarkson and Luke Hodge. You'll hear their thoughts on the season so far in the last 4 weeks of their premiership defence. Port Adelaide, we haven't spoken about Port outside of the jumper kerfuffle.
Are you still wearing their doona and their pillowcases?
That's for later in the final series.
Special occasion at home.
There's a sense of surety around Port Adelaide in getting back to what they want to be, and that was probably best typified by Kane Cornes today.
We feel that we're playing some pretty good footy at the right end of the season. Disappointing not to get over the line against Freo, but took a lot of confidence out of it. Matched it with one of the best sides in the competition. So, look, we feel we're in a good place.
I agree with him. Why wouldn't they? Travelled to Fremantle, put up that sort of performance. Went down by, 14? I think it was at the end.
8, I think it might have been.
It might have been lower, 8. They got run over and they came back. I would think they're going home with all sorts of confidence and can't wait for this weekend. You know, the focus has been on Richmond. It's funny, Jared, at this time of the year, we don't discuss it now, but it's always discussed in hindsight after the finals or a couple of years on what certain things meant and how they influenced the group. And, you know, we were just happy to go through under the radar and the other boys were getting ahead of themselves, etc., etc. We don't know that until it's told in the postscript. So I think Port would be happy to do what they did, come home, get the bodies right, get the 50,000 there on Sunday afternoon, and let's throw the ball up and see what happens.
Yeah, it's theirs to harness, isn't it? They've worked hard to make sure that they've got this final at home. It's been such a great venue for them, and the build of their community around it. It's their day on Sunday, and then it's up to the footy team to make sure that it becomes a day to remember.
It will be. I'm going over. I'm going over for the game. Can't wait.
At ground level.
Won't be sit with Kochi like you though. I'll be elsewhere. I'll be outside.
Tomorrow night we'll have Ken Hinkley and Travis Bloke on AFL 360. We won't delve any deeper into the finals without them because King and McClure are here and it's their time of year. Men with experience of it and the expert eye from all that has happened so far. What will it all mean come the first weekend of the finals?
Give off the hand pass to Rutt, who's stream forward. Can Truck finish? He can! And they come from everywhere to celebrate with Ben Rutt. He handballs it off! He absolutely handballs it off! Benny Rutter! Benny Rutter! Benny Rutter! Look at him run! Eddie, I love you! 100 players are hugging Benny.
Some moments live eternal, and 20 years on, when you replay them, they provide equal sense of joy and mirth and sometimes mysticism. David King, welcome.
G'day, Jared. How are you?
Very well. Yeah. Mark McClure, hello.
Jared, how you going?
So let's go back, shall we?
Oh, no. 20 years.
20 years. Congratulations.
Into the moment, game on the line, out at Waverley. Ian Robertson is calling. Robbo captured it beautifully.
King, you must get the football under your boot because if he can't get the distance from here, we have extra time. And look at Dennis Pagan, he is just so disappointed that the boy didn't get the ball onto his boot a little quicker. Because if it had landed in the square, North Melbourne may have been able to rush it over the line and score a point.
It's going to be a big torpedo, Robbo.
It's got to be the biggest kick this man has ever done in his life to score.
Well, it was a big kick. Look, Jared, I knew that they were running out of legs. The Hawks, we just needed extra time.
Yes.
It was a tough day. I'd tell you, it was My first year of footy, and I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, as you can see.
Got back from the mark, quick.
Go. Great sense of urgency.
Keep it.
Nah.
Oh, no, a bit of me time there.
No me time, mate. I was shitting myself. I was panicking, I mean.
Dennis was cool.
Dennis, look, that was as cool as Dennis was for about 4 days, I reckon.
Why didn't you torp it, mate?
Well, I thought I could get there.
What, from 75?
Well, how did it go?
Didn't get there. Didn't get there.
Well, I didn't think I could flush a torpedo, so I went with that and nearly got there.
So you were thinking about it?
When I first marked it, I was. It's a long time ago now, but...
you remember every moment.
I remember seeing the news when I got home and Dennis's reaction. I thought, this is going to be a long week. This is going to be a long week, Jared.
You ever miss one after the siren or to win one?
No.
Okay,
Right, before we delve into the finals, just the rising star, Lewis Taylor. You led the campaign for Lewis Taylor, making sure people were aware of him, and the way the votes rolled out today just did enough.
He's a great story, isn't he? Look, he moves like a star. He plays in an area of the ground where it's hard to get possessions. You know, that half-forward flank, you need to know where, how to play football. He's got a good, healthy footy arrogance, and that's what I love about him. He wants to embarrass people, he wants to take them on, he wants to be the goal scorer. Who would have thought that this guy would be the major part of the Mosquito fleet up there in his first year? I mean, it's just been a great story. I know there's a lot of off-field or behind-the-scenes story to it as well, but if you just keep it to sheer football, I'm glad that he won it because his body of work was clearly bigger than any of those other names there.
I actually listened to him before. His humility was fantastic. I love the way he handled himself. He's just a young kid who's just trying to make his way, and I like the way he answered, I'm here to want to win a premiership, and I think that is a really good goal for this young group. And the size of him, he's a midget. He's short, but he can play. He can actually play and move, and he's comfortable in his own skin, which you can pick up. So for me, it's good. Great, they're all good kids.
Taken at 28, a good friend of ours here, Glenn Luff, was telling everyone who was prepared to listen, this guy is the pick, or the bargain of the draft. To go at 28 and be the Rising Star winner, that's phenomenal.
Captain of Victorian country's a pretty good guy.
Didn't train until 4 weeks before the season started.
Didn't train. He's top 5 at Brisbane for possessions, and number 1 for uncontested possessions in the forward half, which means you have to be smart to get those possessions in the forward half because that's where the ground collapses on you a bit. I think he's going to be a beauty. I think it's fantastic that we've had 1 point separate Bontempelli as well, because for years we'll look back and we'll judge these two and we can say, well, maybe that was the gap. And it doesn't really matter who ends up the better player long term.
Bontempelli's going to have a great career. I think that's unanimous, regardless of which way you chose today.
So's McDonald.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
so's Kardashian.
Really well.
You know, there's a lot. You go down that list. I mean, I think Kelly got 1 vote. Kelly might be the best of all of them. Yeah. You know, that's how deep this year's list goes.
Yeah, they all develop at different times of their life. You know, kids are good at young, and some are better when they're 21 and 22. So it's a difficult one, but we'll remember them and we'll see what happens in a couple of years.
I want the Dogs to make this bloke a poster boy. I actually want them to go the other way. Instead of being humble and accepting, we're doing this together, we're doing this, we're doing that. Put them out there. The kids are ready for it. You hear how they speak now? I mean, they're educated, they're well-schooled in the media. He should be the face of the club. Right now's the time to get proactive for the Dogs.
They need something right now, the Dogs.
Need a lot.
Right, just before we hit the finals, ANZ Stadium, you were there. In fact, you gave the forerunner to...
Actually, you left a dent in the turf.
This was you before the match.
I'm thinking to myself, what are you doing here, Kingy?
It's just not...
Is that 1970?
Well, look, I read all the propaganda about how much rain they'd had in 2 weeks. They had 10 inches in 2 weeks, but 15 metres to the side of that patch, it was A-grade.
It was good.
And there was no issues there. Look, for coaches to be walking around the ground like this, it's a bad look. We're going into an area of the country where we want showpiece games. That's the side of the game. I don't care what people say.
He fell over.
Of course he fell over. He couldn't keep his feet.
Couldn't keep his feet, but he actually is off balance. It wasn't because of the ground move. What I saw there. He looked like he was playing slowly. He was off balance, and he does fall over a little bit. Dusty's pretty strong.
Well, it's just remarkable that it was in that patch.
Yes.
It's too big a coincidence.
Watch it again here.
It's too big a coincidence for me. Dusty's...
You've got an argument, but I'm with King. I'm with King on this one.
To me, you can't play marquee games there if it's going to be like that. You just can't.
And you better tell Mike Fitzpatrick.
Well, we're just going to settle the game short.
I agree.
That's okay. If that's what we want to do, that's okay. The SCG was looking magnificent on the weekend.
Should have been there.
And there's plenty of seats there.
There's a few there.
All right, let's start with that final then, the Sydney Swans and Fremantle. We're going to pose one question for you to dissect the key to the match. And so the question for this first final in Sydney is, can Freo's brittle defence hold Buddy and co?
Well, it's Dawson and Silvani. They're the ones who are going to have to hold them. And if they do, they're going to be heroes, to tell you the truth, because they haven't got much else. They will be absolute heroes.
And have bronze statues put up with them.
Absolutely they will. But who else are they going to put there to help them? And that's the problem. Johnson out, McFarlane out. They've got a few of the big pillars out. So that's the key to Fremantle winning this game, I reckon. Their midfield's sensational. Their forward line's really good now with the small forwards in there. But can they hold a score up?
If they're hoping for Dawson and Silvani to do it, they've got no hope. They're kidding themselves.
What do they do? What do they
Ross,
do, Kenny?
Ross will be saying there's 18 magnets on the ground at any one time. Those 18 magnets defend these two.
Correct.
Well, you make a decision. You either lock down and deny them inside 50 opportunities and try and keep them to a 35 to 40 inside 50 game, because no one's going to beat them one-on-one.
No.
You can put any magnet you like there at the moment and they're going to get you. Or you say we're going after them. We're going to try and have a shootout like we did against Hawthorn. They kicked 10 goals each at half-time. It was a great game.
So they find some more goals.
Yeah, I think Ross has got to make a decision.
What would you do?
I think he'll go back to what he knows and he'll say, let's defend for our lives. Let's frustrate them. Let's harass them into submission like they did last year.
So it's all in the midfield. The midfield going to have to push back and shore up, aren't they?
Pretty good midfields, both of them.
Yeah, they are.
Real good.
Top of the range.
I think so.
Big bodies, and if it's going to be
the ruck's
wet.
a difference, though. I mean, Sandlands has got an enormous power.
Don't underestimate Pike. I think Pike's been a real success story. He's not as good as Sandilands, but he's a competitor. That's all you need to compete after, do you?
He's going to have to be.
So do you give them a chance of doing it, Freo?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think the gap. I really don't think the gap's that big between the top 5 sides in the competition this year. It's minute, but the travel factor for me, you just don't win away from home, Jared. You just don't win. Top 5 sides versus top 5 sides is 1 win and 13 losses. 1 from 14.
When you said that last week, that was staggering.
It did change last week.
No,
Port were in that game, and
but this is a neutral ground almost, isn't it?
Oh, you've still got to travel. I'll tell you what, getting from Fremantle to ANZ Stadium is not an easy trip.
It's that last hour and a half from the airport, mate. It's
We've done it ourselves, and it's hard work.
All right, Friday night, they're both at home, Hawthorn and Geelong. So we've split you up here. What needs to go right to win? And you're playing the Geelong side of things, Kenny.
Oh, look, they've just got to keep their game going. High speed, high intensity, tackle pressure that's through the roof. That's how they score. Force turnovers and then go. Get to the boys with some speed. Bit of healthy footy arrogance through the absolute middle of the ground. Make the Hawks chase. They've done it before. This forces Lake to defend. This forces Gibson to play one-on-one. This forces Stratton to be one-on-one, right on his man. And tell you what, if you're not, they make you pay. And then when you go one-on-one, they work out where the big fella is at full forward and say, here, Hawk, grab hold of this. And there's no one in the land that can beat him at the moment. He's huge. He's just got this confidence about him at the moment that regardless of what you think of him as a side and what you think of him as magnets, this bloke's had a fantastic year. He should be pushing for all Australian. He should be breaking into that elite bracket of the competition. They're playing some pretty good footy.
Your first 2 highlights there was Stephen Motlop, mate, just chomping up the ground. Do you expect Hawthorn to go pretty close with someone, with him?
I think you got to tag those uncontested players for me. You got to tag the ones you can stop. I'm not saying you can definitely stop him, but they're a lot easier to deny handball receives and uncontested marks than they are brute force at the clearances and the contested stuff.
The Hawthorn side of things, Sellers, what needs to go right to win?
Well, they get back Hodge and Hill, who give them some real speed and some leadership, enormous leadership. And what their deal is, they're consistent week in, week out. Doesn't matter who you play, they play the same style of football. I love the way that they've moved their Hale, McAvoy and Segler in and out of the side. They have people, and you can go down back, Sholomakers, Cheney, Jure, and you can put Litherland in there. They're never certain of their spot, none of them. So you either play at your best or you don't. The biggest key for me is Brian Lake. I've seen him play injured before and he is atrocious. He cannot stand up. He doesn't try hard enough. And if he plays half injured, look out. They will get destroyed. And if he plays on Tommy Hawkins, it will be an absolute mess because he won't be able to handle him at all. I've seen him play injured, seriously, and you have too, and he stumbles and stammers and shows you how sore he is. I mean, that is wrong. And this side won't put up with it. If you're not right, don't play, because they should do it right now, tonight. Over. You're out. Okay, fine. Next week maybe.
If Blake shuts down Hawkins,
if he plays,
if he does, and he's fit, and that shuts him down, does that shut down Geelong?
It sort of does, doesn't it?
I don't think it shuts down Geelong. This is the beauty of that ball speed and how quick it is. You know, they're charged through the middle. You've got to lock them all down. That's the hard part.
But going into the forward 50, it seems to me, I think you said it, it's got to get to Hawkins. They go to Hawkins.
Yeah, they go to Hawkins.
If that is curtailed, that contest, who else for Geelong? Who else is that person who's going to be the get-out kick? We've got to go long to you.
I think they still go long to Hawkins, and if he doesn't win it, he doesn't get outmarked. We know that.
Yeah,
if it comes to ground, they get another opportunity. But you're right. If he kicks 6,
she's hard work.
It's a game on.
What if he kicks 1?
Well, difference.
Yeah. Okay, come to Saturday night, Essendon and North Melbourne. And the question back on round 1 is, could the Bombers play keepings off again? Could they do to North Melbourne what they did in round 1?
Well, North Melbourne did it to Hawthorn and won that game on a Friday night game, if you remember. Essendon did it to North Melbourne and they play exactly the same game in a sense. There's a lot of questions in this game, but not many answers. Essendon have 2 tall forwards in Ambrose and Danaher. Between them, Danaher's had 20 games for 24 goals, and he's your full forward. And Ambrose has had 16 games for 13 goals. Who's going to kick a score? How are they going to score enough goals to win this game at Essendon Football Club? This bloke's out, Carlisle, and I'll miss him greatly. They'll probably have to play Watson up forward as we go through this thing, and they'll bring out the old chestnut of Winderlick going down there at some stage to get some run because he's really good. And I'm sure that they'll throw Hurley there at some stage as well, and Paddy Ryder. So they'll have enough firepower. But these 2 young kids, big job.
Massive.
For these two young boys.
Will they be nervous?
Oh yeah. I think this bloke here, I think their defence seriously looks better without Fletcher in it, to tell you the truth. I hate to say that, but it does at the moment.
I think this game, unlike some of the others, I think this is going to really be one lost in the coach's box. I really do. I think that we'll know in the first 15 minutes whether they can play the uncontested brand against the Kangaroos, who we've seen struggle when they're outpossessed and outmarked. Half a dozen times this year, the Kangaroos have lost games when they've only lost 7 games for the year. They've lost all those games that have been outmarked by more than 40 marks. That's a lot of marks, 40 marks. And I just think if Bomber Thompson can get the game orchestrated the way he wants, they won't worry about scoring too heavily. They could probably score 12 goals and win it because the Kangaroos won't have time in the sun in possession.
Okay, and then high octane Sunday at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide and Richmond, and you raised this last week, and they did. Can the Tigers leaders rise again?
Well, that's a big challenge, isn't it? It's a huge challenge, and I think they can. There's no reason why they can't, put it that way. They've got to be brave enough. They've got to be brave enough to go and take this game off Port. That's the big thing for me. This guy doesn't need to be best on ground. No. They've shown that. But I'll tell you who needs to be in the best. Dustin Martin needs to be in their best 3 players if they're to win this game. And we've all talked about Cochin, we've talked about Delidio, but Martin is the one.
I tell you what, they've earned a lot of respect, these guys.
Have they got yours? Seriously?
Yes, absolutely.
Including Jack?
Yeah, well, I was in a pub the other night. Not in a pub, I was in a restaurant across the road from a pub.
It was a pub.
No, it was a restaurant across the road. I
was
with my daughter and my wife. And we were sitting there having a glass of wine, and there was a hotel about 50 metres across the road.
Wouldn't have been far.
And I was checking, it wasn't far away. I was checking my phone to see as you get through. And I heard this enormous roar, and I went and pushed my button again to reload. And I've worked out it was the end of the game. It was huge, the massive numbers. And I've seen people around the place with scarves on. They love it. It's been a great story. But they actually have earned a lot of respect, and they deserve it because they changed themselves halfway through the year. That was the key. And they realised they were going terrible, and they changed. So I respect them greatly. I think that's been a really, really fantastic story for footy.
You didn't rate Jack. You didn't rate Jack's leadership. Have you?
No, I didn't.
I know. Have you noted? Because I know you.
Do you know anyone who did?
I know you've watched the game since. You've watched the game since.
Yeah. He's improved. There's no doubt about it.
He's improved drastically.
Absolutely.
Jack.
And so has Delidio. Delidio's gone to a space where he actually works hard. In the midfield, he used to be tagged and he'd turn it up when someone would lock him down. Here he actually works harder and he's quicker than most of the blokes who play in that area. He's a really good player in that spot.
And you're a believer that Port's recaptured things, aren't you?
Yeah. The gap between Port's best and worst wasn't that big. They've got to be tough this week. They haven't been tough enough in tight and where it really matters in big moments the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks. They lost that game last week.
What do you mean tight enough? They were just hanging back, waiting for others to do it?
They don't hang back. It's not for me to say that they're hanging back, but other teams are tougher comparatively.
Right.
Okay. Enjoy your weekend of finals. There'll be so much to talk about next Wednesday. I know that already. Coming up next on AFL 360, Kingy was here when the Hawthorn hierarchy came in. Alistair Clarkson and Luke Hodge on what's left in 2014. It's the perfect starting off point for a final series. It speaks of excellence and longevity. Hawthorn and Geelong on Friday night. We're going to spend 360 seconds with the Hawks coach and captain Alistair Clarkson. Luke Hodge, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, boys.
David King in presiding as well. Alistair, it's been a mighty effort to finish top two, I think, given all the obstacles that Hawthorn has faced this year. What's it a testament to, and does it give you a sense of pride?
Enormous pride, but probably the stability of a football club. And probably a great example of that is my illness and having Bolts be able to step in, and that just seemed seamless at the time. We're able to win five games of footy in the time that he took over as coach. But that's just a reflection of many positions at our football club, whether it's players or whether it's in admin or in coaching staff. The stability of your club, everyone knowing what's required, setting ourselves goals at the start of the year, and having that stability and continuity from year to year is just so important. And all the successful clubs have that, and the ones who aren't so successful are trying their best to try to secure it. And we've been in that position ourselves. In 2004 when we arrived at the footy club, we were one of those unstable clubs, and we've worked really hard, particularly at board level, to make sure that our club is really, really stable, and it's helped us be able to back up season to season with consistent performance.
Have you had a sense, Luke, of riding the bumps, as the song would say, with a grin this year?
Without doubt, when we lost a few of the senior guys in Gibbo and Mitch, I think it was about round 7 or 8. We realised that a few guys would have to step up, and it was no different when Clarko got Crook. Bolts was nominated as coach, but then all the assistant coaches rallied together. All the players sort of went in and said, what can we do to help out? And it was a pretty smooth transition. It was good not getting yelled at by the grumpy man for a few weeks, but when he came back, it was once again smooth transition back. He took the main role again, and then everyone else just sort of helped out where they could.
Al, how do you separate and sign off the two different seasons, the home and away season and the final season? Do you say we're doing this well, we need to work on this, or is it just the new mad month? How do you sign it off?
Yeah, we'll review the game this afternoon from Collingwood and put a full stop to the home and away at that point in time, and start getting ourselves ready for the catch. I don't know where I really sit on it, because there's some part of me that says, well, listen, it's just another game of footy that we've got to prepare for. So our routines and that sort of stuff pretty much stay the same. But there's another part of me says, well, it's a new season now. And I'm sure the players are the same. They've got to continue on with their routines of what they've done that's held them in such good stead throughout the course of the year. But they also know the excitement and the challenge of a big opponent, and you've got 3 or 4 weeks of it if you continue to progress. So we'll put a full stop to it at the review meeting this afternoon, and then get ourselves ready for the Cats.
You've won 2 of the last 3 against the Cats. What have you done better recently that you struggle with prior to that?
We've in the two games we won against the Cats in the last 12 months. I couldn't really tell you what we've done any differently other than we've fallen across the line in those two games. You know, one game which was only a couple of weeks ago, we were hopelessly out of position at half time. And the one last year in the prelim final, we could have quite easily lost that game. There's plenty of games that we've played against the Cats that we could have quite easily won too. So we haven't done anything really differently. We know that the games against the Cats are always really tough, competitive games that we play, and there's no doubt it'll be that way again on Friday night. But yeah, hopefully we can progress through to a prelim final.
When you left the fields a couple of weeks ago at the end of round 22, probably knowing that in a fortnight you'd be back against Geelong, what were you thinking about the night?
I guess the main things when you finish a game like that is the first half and where probably the football you played that wasn't so good. I know our second half was an improvement, but I guess after every game you sort of look back at the things you didn't do so well, and that was probably our main focus on. Geelong were probably a lot harder than us. They moved the ball a lot better than what we did, so that was probably our main focus from that game.
What specifically did Geelong do that challenges you the most? Is it their aggression through the corridor, their ability to win the ball back and half-back flank? What actually is it? Their leaders? Which part of it?
Oh, well, I think you've covered off on all those things. That's why they're such a good side, because you can't cover off on everything that they do well. You know, they've got nearly the most powerful forward in the competition. They've got some of the most damaging high half forwards in the competition. Their midfield is outstanding, and their defence has probably been the best rebounding defence that's ever played the game. So you know, to try to cover off on all 4 or 5 of those things, and you speak about the leadership too. You know, they've got some outstanding leadership across all lines, and to cover off on all those things, you might get 3 or 4 of them right, but you know, one just bites you on the backside. It's like your golf game. You know, you get off the tee really well, but you can't putt the quids, and it's so hard to get all the things right and have the perfect game. They're such a formidable opponent, but we'd like to think that we're building that type of reputation ourselves as well, and there's some things that the Cats will have to do against us too that will make it really tough for them. So that's why they're great games, and that's why everyone's looking forward to this Friday night encounter.
The top 4 is the same as last year. There's an air of familiarity around the battles that are about to be waged. Do you have that sense? You know these teams pretty well. You know how you measure up against them. You know how taxing it will be. Do you have that sense of thrill and familiarity for it?
Yeah, and a little bit of rivalry, and the fact that these sides are going around again is probably a reflection. You know, sides don't usually come up just fleetingly play in a final series and then disappear. They usually do it on the back of shrewd recruiting, a really good strategy, some really good coaching, and some very, very talented players. And so it's no surprise that that these sides are there. But you know, in particular, Sydney and Geelong, they've been up and about for a long period of time. You know, they define everything about the draft in a sense, and they're doing it very, very well. And we're hoping to emulate that, and I'm sure Fremantle is too. Port Adelaide's starting to show that as well. So there's some sides that are going to be up there and about for some time. We're hoping to be one of them. But with that, you know, you're going to be playing in regular final series against these guys, and you do become familiar with the way that they play. It doesn't make it any easier to win because they're such great competitive beasts, these opposition sides. But we love the challenge and know we've got to be prepared to have some disappointment along the way, because you're not going to win every final series you go into with, but we'd much prefer to be in there having a crack.
Just before we go, I can't believe Hodgie actually outlasted Luke Ball. Can you believe that? Given the level of preparation that Bally had early in his days, by comparison to the great man here, can you believe it?
Well, it just goes to show how demanding the game is, and as he said before, you know, Bally the poor bugger, he played the whole of his career in the midfield. At least we've taken him out back a little bit, give him a bit of a spell.
You're responsible for this.
You better have a say as we finish. This is your 7th final series. Can you articulate how tangibly things change for a player between the home and away and the finals?
Oh, it is. Everyone knows you've got to play your best football this time of year. Throughout the home and away year, you can have probably quarters here or there, and you still might get away with winning the game. In finals football, if you don't play your best football for 4 quarters, you're not going to win the game. And we showed that against Geelong 2 weeks ago. If we come out with the first half like that this Friday night, well, we won't be walking off the ground happy. So, without a doubt, it's what people play football for, and no doubt every team in the final so far are going to be keen for a big weekend.
Good luck for the week. Good luck for the month. Alistair Clarkson and Luke Hodge with us on AFL 360. We'll be talking about this plenty tomorrow night. It'll be fight night when Cam Mooney and Barry Hall are in to dissect the Cats and the Hawks.
Awake on my airplane, awake on my airplane. My skin is bare, my skin is theirs.
Watch out, you might get what you're after. Cool babies, strange but not a stranger. Sing. I'm an ordinary guy, burning down the house.
Using the grand final entertainment duo as the cue for Who Would You Rather Be? Thanks to Gatorade, Robbo. Have you figured out who Ed Sheeran is yet? Ed Sheeran or Tom Jones?
Oh, I'll go Tom Jones, but clearly Ed Sheeran's popular just because I don't know, and that means absolutely nothing. Well, Tom Jones, you know, he had women's underwear thrown. Have you ever had that?
You'll be shocked to know.
Oh, I wish. Andrew Gage likes him. Andrew Gage took his own underwear off and threw them at Tom Jones once at a concert, he told me. That would have been good to see. But no, I would think Tom Jones' history rather than Ed Sheeran's future.
Okay.
What about me? Oh, it's my to you.
Yes.
Rising Stars, mine's boring. Who would you rather be of the two Rising Star winners, Nathan Buckley or Adam Goods?
Premierships and Australian End of the Year title lean me towards Goods. I'll take Adam Goods. See you tomorrow night. Let's head to bounce. Jason Dunstall.